Okay, so today I'm going to be speaking with Jordan Goudreau. He's a three-time Bronze Star recipient for Iraq and Afghanistan. However, he's probably better known for his role leading, masterminding the failed attempt to overthrow the Chavista regime in 2020 in the so-called Operación Gedeón, or Operation Gedeón. And he's been making waves amongst not just Venezuelans, but Latin Americans in general the past few weeks with some of the things he's been saying about some of the responsible entities, parties, people behind the failure of this plan. That's why I think it's important to speak to him. So, Jordan, welcome to the show and thank you for accepting the interview.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. You come highly recommended, so it's natural.
Okay, so let's get straight into what people want to listen to. So, give us a rundown of what it is that you're trying to get out there currently, because I've seen that you went from a period of inactivity on social medias. Obviously, you were
Yeah.
dealing with everything that happened, the blowback of the failed coup attempt or the failed overthrowing of a regime attempt, I think is a better way of describing it. But since then, you were pretty much off the radar. And in the past few weeks, you've jumped right back in. And every few hours, I see you getting into a new Twitter spat with some other
Oh,
political figure in Venezuela. So just say, with your own words, what is it that you want to get out there at the moment?
yeah. So here's the bottom line, right? Like when this happened, let's back up to the macro of it. So when this happened, obviously we've learned a lot in the last few weeks about media and who funds media, where the money comes from, not just US based media, but international media. So we've all seen the USAID funded media publications. We've all seen the other, like for instance, the AP just came out and said, we don't take money from USAID. We are funded by a different government agency. So this calls into question all the validity of all the media narratives that the entire planet's really been watching for the last, oh, I don't know, few decades. So this plays a role into what we're going to be discussing. So does lawfare. And so if you keep up with, the United States news, which people in Venezuela probably do because there's implications for US news in Venezuela, you see that Donald Trump made an interesting executive, he signed an interesting executive order. It's a lawfare or weaponization of the federal government to counter the weaponization of the federal government. So in the United States, the last 4 years, we witnessed as this had been happening time and time again to political opponents of Donald Trump. And so we saw that with, the Russia collusion hoax, and we saw that with J6 most notably, and we've seen it with the Gretchen Weimer fake kidnapping and all of these things. And so in my case, and this is going to go into the lawfare part of the case, right? 4.5 years after this operation was sabotaged, and I call it the sabotaged operation. Because what Venezuelans don't realize, and most people don't understand, is how close this operation was to success. It was a breath away. Had it not been sabotaged by elements of the CIA and full-blown opposition government individuals who, I guess they wanted the USAID money more, it would have been a success. And President Trump would have had a victory in South America, a much-needed victory. So the fallout and the second and third order effects of the fallout from the failure of Gideon, we have witnessed over the last 4 years. Some of those would include a Brazil, a BRICS nation that has given away trade and obviously mineral rights to China. Argentina is now working with China. So we have lost, I guess, what the United States likes to call the Monroe Doctrine. We have lost a big part of what we want. We want hegemony in our hemisphere. We've lost that, all because you had a leftist regime working with a leftist CIA that wanted to deny a sitting president a win in a South American country. So that is the overarching theme of, and when everybody asks why, quite simply, this was sabotaged to, I guess you could say, deny a victory for Donald Trump, hurt Donald Trump. It was propagated through the mainstream media that we were all insane and I was a bloodthirsty mercenary, and the men who followed me to their deaths were horrible individuals. I would argue that they were patriots. I would argue that they were the best that Venezuela has to offer, the most courageous men and women that Venezuela had to offer, but I digress. They were demonized in the Venezuelan media, all the media outlets that support the opposition. Every US outlet demonized them. And the real question I have is why? Well, it's pretty clear to me why at this point. It's because the saboteurs needed to follow up the sabotage with a narrative, right? And we see this time and time again. This is how the CIA does business, right? I don't want to delve too deep into this, but I just want to leave that there. This is the overarching theme of this entire, I guess you would say, event.
Okay,
This
now,
is, yeah.
while I do agree with pretty much most of what you've just said, and I've been speaking out about this for the past more than 10 years of my life, it's also true, as you probably understand, that you could use a narrative in which one entity is doing things with their power that they shouldn't be doing, and because of that, everybody who has at some point been investigated or accused by that same entity automatically gets granted the benefit of the doubt of if they're actually guilty or not, even though maybe they are. So, for example, if you have a corrupt policeman or a policeman that once has been proven to have planted drugs on someone, then anyone who has at some point been arrested by that policeman, or anyone who has been in a trial and that policeman has been one of the witnesses against that person, now has the opportunity potentially to be able to appeal that conviction, because once again his credibility has been put into question. So yeah, the narrative is definitely there. However, the key facts about this operation is what I want to hear from you, because as you've said, the Operation Gedeón, the narrative about it has been mainly propagated by people like JJ Rendon, people like Lester Toledo, even Juan Guaido, saying that he didn't have anything to do with it. There was never any contracts of any sort. So I do want to hear it from your own mouth. Now let's start with a proof.
Okay,
contract.
Yeah, let's start there. Let's work backwards. Let's the quintessential question, the contract. Okay, this is how this breaks down in the media. My operation is sabotaged. They deny it. Oh, we didn't have anything to do with it. We don't know who this guy is. Rendon denies it. Guaido denies it right away. I give the contract to Patricia Paleo and I say, here's the contract, publish it. She publishes it. Then they come back and say, whoa, wait a minute. We know about the contract and we were working with this guy and we signed it, but there was a clause in the contract that was a deniability clause. And people buy this bullshit, right? And so in the real world, like in life, there is no such thing as a deniability clause, right? This is not a movie. Deniability comes when there is a cutout. So in tradecraft, let's say, for instance, I'm working with somebody and I want the approval of something. I will put a cutout in so that there is plausible deniability. They didn't have that. They had their signatures on a valid contract with me to liberate their country. And what's more, it was videotaped. I secretly videotaped it.
Okay, so that's where we get to the actual proof. So far, what I've seen was a recording of some voices, one of whom I think does sound pretty much like Juan Guaido. You say that you're speaking on the phone with him. He says that he has a contract in front of him and that he agrees to it and that it's necessary. All this. I mean, everyone's seen that video. I'm going to link everything in the description of this video anyways, in case you haven't. However, there are a few things we have to go over. First of all, being purpose, then being authorization, then being backing. So purpose. In that interview you did with W Radio, you said one thing that I think some people would maybe take issue with, and that is that you did this for free, and not just for free, but actually taking money out of your own pocket. However,
100%.
The contract did state that you would get a $1.5 million retainer, and then you'd be paid in excess of $200 million upon a successful overthrowing of the Chavista regime.
No.
So,
no. Let me back you up. Let me correct you. That's not what the contract says, because typically what happens is people don't read the contract. They read parts of the contract, or they'll listen to what the media says, and then they'll regurgitate it. What the contract says is this. There's three parts to this operation. There's the first part where you do the catalyst. This is where you overthrow whoever it is that's in power. This is Maduro. The 1.5 is so that because what happens is the first time I started to do this, it was with Leopoldo Lopez and his guys. It was with Leopoldo Lopez, George Betancourt, and Lester Toledo. These guys, they couldn't get the contract done for whatever reason. They were, they just couldn't get the contract done with global governments. So when I start working with Guaido directly, which, Leopoldo never dropped out of anything, he was always there. I put a retainer in there. I said, I'll do this, but I want 1.5 because I already spent a lot of money on the development. The first trip I went where these guys were screwing around, global government said, oh, go ahead, just do everything you need to do, build your team as if the contract is signed. So I lost a lot of money. Do you understand?
Now, when was that trip exactly? The first trip
that's the first trip I went to Bogota.
Was that for the Venezuelan aid or was that a separate trip?
No. That was after Venezuela Live Aid. I'm not sure. It was maybe a few weeks after Venezuela Live Aid. So I do this.
Now I do have one question about the contract. You said that you gave it to Patricia Poleo, with whom I have to say you did an interview stating that Juan Guaido was the person who had made this contract with you and that he was the person behind the plan that had just gone miserably wrong. You did that hours after it had failed, which I think is a bit strange, especially considering the fact...
What did I say?
So on the 3rd of May, you appeared on the program of Patricia Poleo just a couple of hours after it was known that the plan had failed, which, by the way, again, we have to go into how exactly did it fail so miserably when 2 days prior, AP had reported on exactly what you guys were planning on doing. So we'll get into how you thought it was a good idea to even advance with something that had already been exposed. Yeah, okay. So
no, it was horrible. Let's get into that.
Now, so you're saying that there wasn't a promise of a payment in excess of 200 million in a successful completion of this contract?
Okay, so let's break it down. There's a retainer because like I said, I got screwed over originally. So I have the retainer of 1.5 so that I can at least recover what I had spent previously and finish what I need to start with this first piece of the operation. The 212 million or whatever, that was over the span of, I think, a year. And that was the second two phases, which essentially, when you flip a country, then you need to worry about the counter coup. That may be a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. And then you have the part where you have to restore order and bring about fair and free elections. Do you understand? So there's three parts to the contract.
So what you're saying is that the 200 million were to cover pretty much everything that involved not just overthrowing the Chavista regime, but also creating a new government and getting rid. Now, my question in that case, because it's the first time I hear you say that, is
it's in the contract, bro.
Okay, so another question. You said that you were going to give the contract to W Radio, did you? Because I didn't see them post anything.
Yeah,
Maybe
I sent
they
it
did.
To them. I did.
Okay. Could you send it to me as well so I could share it with my audience?
You didn't ask, brother.
Yeah,
Do you want
it? I'm asking now. Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah.
I think my audience will want to see it.
Sure.
Now, a question would be, if you successfully had managed to overthrow the Chavista regime, they had fled, because obviously you said that you wanted to keep Maduro alive. So assuming that you had captured him, assuming that the operation had gone as you wanted it to go, at that point, wouldn't the Trump administration kick in and help you out? Because up until that point, you say that the reason why Trump. Okay, so then why would the 200 million? So then why would the 200 million even come into question?
This is what you have to understand. The 200 million is irrelevant. Everybody thinks
it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant in terms of the cost of setting up a new Venezuelan government after the overthrow of the chavismo. But it's not irrelevant. It's not irrelevant in terms of a small group of military contractors or mercenaries or security personnel.
No,
it's not relevant in that sense. Especially when you said that you've done it for free and even taken money out of your own pocket. Then it is very relevant, Jordan. Very relevant.
Well, it is. But here's the thing. Wait. So tell me what you're trying to say.
So, if the money, the 200 million, wasn't actually your reward for a successful mission, it was to set up a new Venezuela, why then would that happen rather than Donald Trump getting involved once you've overthrown the chavismo, and at that point 200 million becomes just a drop in the ocean in terms of what it would actually cost to set up that hypothetical new Venezuela? The CIA and Donald Trump administration had even spoke about giving prepaid debit cards by Banco Santander to Venezuelans after the chavismo was to be overthrown. Just that would be more than 200 million.
Okay, so you're saying why wouldn't Donald Trump just pay me 212 million?
No. Why wouldn't the Trump administration handle the basically restructuring of Venezuela after the overthrow of the chavismo regime the same way that they've done in any of the situations in which America has intervened directly, and then they've just sent in personnel to fix
it's not
the
an
mess,
invasion.
basically.
Venezuela is not Japan. We didn't bomb it. It's not. This is not an invasion. It's not post World War II. Nowadays, things are done through companies, through contract companies, Raytheon, Blackwater. All of this is just how it's done. So I think you're arguing really semantics. Yeah, it could have been done. Donald Trump could have came in and did it, but I don't see the. I think I don't see the validity of the question simply because the 212 is relevant.
Intentionality is intentionality, because if you say that you did it just because you wanted to help the Venezuelan cause, which by the way,
perfect.
I personally don't care if you wanted to get 200 million or not. I mean, I've always said this, for the amount of money that the chavismo has stolen and just has disappeared during the chavismo regime, I really couldn't care less about if a group of mercenaries come in and actually do the job and get rid of them.
Let me stop you there. I'm not a mercenary.
What would you call yourself?
I'm not a security guy.
What would you call yourself?
Here's the deal. I paid my own money to do this. Not only that, the 1.5 million didn't get paid out. I got money from Venezuelans, fundraising from other people who actually cared about Venezuela. I'm not talking about the people who, say they care about it. I mean, the real Venezuelans who actually care, who've had people in the helicode who've been tortured because they really cared about their country. And what's more is this is the part that really bothers me. 50 of my dudes, like my guys who actually tried to do this, who are Venezuelans, who are fighting for their country in Venezuela, everybody goes to these guys. Everybody, is so ashamed of these guys because the media told them to be. They're heroes. They're heroes in Venezuela. No, please let me finish.
They're heroes in Venezuela. I don't think that's true, Jordan. I think it's because the operation failed so miserably that it was even used by the chavismo regime to sediment themselves into power even more.
These guys tried.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But that's the problem. You can say they tried. You can say they tried. You can say they tried. Jordan, you can say they tried.
Nobody has tried, except for us. The best chance
that's actually not true. There's a guy called Oscar Perez that tried before you, and he actually lost his life for it. He was on the ground in Venezuela, unlike you.
So how is it that he's a hero to everybody?
Jordan, where were you while the operation was going down?
We're all bad guys?
I'm not saying you're bad at all. I'm just trying to put the arguments that would be put against you by anyone who would be trying to look at this objectively speaking. Well, that's what I'm trying to do.
The argument that's been made for the last 4.5 years, and the only person defending my Venezuelans is me. The only person,
Jordan, but you weren't even in Venezuela while
Venezuelan
Jordan,
went in and prepped targets.
Okay, one second, Jordan, 1 second.
No, 1 second.
Tell me if this is a lie. Tell me if this is a lie. On Friday, 1st of May, 6 p.m. 2020, a boat carrying 11 men left the shores of Colombia bound for Venezuela. They had 8 rifles between them. 10 minutes later, a second vessel with 47 on board and just 2 rifles motored out into the Caribbean Sea. Reported by BBC. Is that a lie?
I'd have to go and look at the numbers.
I mean, if I'm telling you they had a vessel with 47 people on board and 2 rifles, would you need to look at the numbers, or could you say that sounds correct? And if it sounds correct, you basically sent your men, your Venezuelans, as you called them, with no rifles, Jordan, with no weapons, Jordan. So how is that you taking responsibility and protecting your guys?
Answer my question. What were they trying to achieve?
Answer my question. You're the mastermind of the operation. How do you send a vessel with 47 guys and 2 rifles to overthrow the Chavista regime?
What were they trying to achieve?
Once again, they could have had
trying to achieve.
Jordan,
you have no idea.
I don't doubt.
You have no idea.
Okay, let's calm it down for a second. Okay, let's calm it down.
CNN. You've read it in Telesur. You've read it in Fox News. You have no idea.
Okay. Now, that's why I'm speaking to you. That's why I'm speaking to you rather than just making a video about it.
Okay, let's talk. You're defending the prevailing narrative.
Okay,
we're all insane.
Now, you're conflating 2 things.
No,
First,
I'm not conflating anything.
Yes, you are. I'll explain how.
You're not giving me a chance to explain anything. I didn't get a chance to explain
Jordan, this interview can last as long as you want it to last. You're going to have every opportunity to say whatever you want. Trust me. I'm not going to edit anything out.
Well, can I speak?
Okay, but
if I can't speak, then
but
what's the point?
but you've
if
conflated.
you want to push your narrative,
Jordan, but you've conflated my point. So I want to clarify. I want to be very specific.
Why?
I want to be very specific because I want to be very specific because you're conflating my arguments.
I'm not conflating.
Two things can be true. You are. Two things. Jordan, I'm about to explain it. Jordan, I'm about to explain how you're doing it. If you give me a chance, I'll explain how you're doing it, and then you can speak.
Have done anything to liberate Venezuela?
I've just told you, Oscar Perez, and he got blown up. Is he in
this chat?
He got blown up, Jordan.
Where is he?
He got blown up.
Okay, he's a good guy, right?
You don't even know who he is.
Why are my dead Venezuelans bad guys?
You don't even know who he is.
Why are my dead Venezuelans bad guys?
Do you know who Acquaviva is? Do you know who Acquaviva is?
I know exactly who he is.
Who is Oscar Perez then? Tell me.
He's the guy who got blown up.
How? What did he try to do? How did it happen?
Who are my
because
guys?
I think you don't know anything about him.
Who's Jackson Alvarez?
Tell me. So who is Oscar Perez? Tell me, who is Oscar Perez? How did he get blown up? Tell me.
No, tell me, who's Jackson Alvarez?
No, you're talking rubbish. You don't know anything about the Venezuelan issue. That's just proving it. That's just proving it, Jordan. You don't even know who Oscar Perez is.
I know exactly who he is.
Who is he? Then tell me.
He was blown up by an RPG. He was on a cell phone. I know exactly who he is.
Okay, so then why did it take me 10 times of naming him for you to acknowledge that before you ever tried to do Operación Gedeón, he'd been killed by the regime?
You're trying to talk over me, man. You're not giving me a chance to talk. You're not.
Okay.
You have your agenda and you're trying to push it.
I don't have an agenda. My agenda is actually the same as the one that you're supposedly pushing, Jordan.
My Venezuelans are all bad.
Jordan, okay, listen.
They're all bad guys.
Now listen.
Let me tell you something, man. You want to know why Americans they don't care anymore about Venezuela? Do you know why?
I've said it. Jordan.
Who die for you guys don't even honor Venezuelans who die for your country. You don't even honor these guys.
Jordan,
you don't even care.
Jordan, that's the thing.
These guys were crazy.
Jordan,
we're not allowed to. No, let me finish, bro. These guys, we're not allowed to like them because CNN says they're bad, and because Fox News, the American news stations say they're bad. We're not allowed to honor these fallen Venezuelans, right? Because that's what you've been indoctrinated to believe.
Jordan, you don't know what you're talking about. Man. I'm sorry to tell you.
Your whole country doesn't.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who you're talking to. So
guys in my Twitter who say thank you for trying. Everybody talks. Everybody has a podcast and talks. You guys actually tried. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, man, but that's the truth. How old are you?
Now,
how old are you? No.
Irrelevant to the interview.
Very relevant. How old are you,
It's really not. 31, completely relevant.
31, exactly. You're a leftist, right? You believe that 100%. Everything can be done through talking.
Jordan, you're making a fool out of yourself because you don't know who you're speaking to.
I think you're the one making the fool out of yourself.
You don't know who you're speaking to. So instead of making accusations that are just going to be laughed by my audience because you don't know who I am, Instead of trying to infer that you know what I think when you don't know who I am and you don't follow my content and you don't know what my opinions are, how about you actually let me tell you? Because you've
you're
conflated.
Supposed to be interviewing me, man.
Yes, but this is the thing. You're now saying that I'm a leftist.
You
don't even know who I am.
I have no idea. Have you ever served in the army?
No.
Okay, man.
Okay, now Jordan, you're conflating two issues. Two things can be true at the same time. One, you can think that people who tried to liberate Venezuela, for example, even Oscar Perez, I was a big critic of Oscar Perez while he was still alive because I thought he was a showman paid by the chavismo regime because what he was doing was completely ridiculous from a strategic standpoint. And then he ended up dying. And then I realized that actually he was a guy that tried to do something, but he did it in the worst possible way. Okay. So then I made a video apologizing for not believing him. However, two things can be true at the same time. I can think that the people, the Venezuelans who got aboard that vessel, eight of them who lost their life because of it, Jordan, 8 of them who died because of it, or the ones who are still arrested to this day because of it, Jordan.
Check it out.
What exactly were we trying to achieve? If you let me finish my point, then you can speak as much as you want.
What were we trying to achieve, man? Like what?
Jordan, if you let me finish my point, then you can speak as much as you want.
What was the objective?
Because right now we're speaking past each other because you don't know anything about me. I do know quite a lot about you. That's the difference in our positions.
Do you want to learn about what actually happened, or do you want to tell me what happened? You tell me what happened. You tell me what happened with Operation Gedeón, man. You let me know.
Can I finish my point, Jordan? Can I finish my point?
No. Tell me. You tell me what happened. I'm
okay,
here.
Can I finish my point, Jordan?
I don't even know what your point is, dude.
That's because you're not listening. You're too focused on just arguing without knowing who you're speaking to.
Arguing?
You won't let me finish
you say my guys are crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I'm going to defend my men.
You've said that, Jordan.
You're not a soldier.
Jordan, you've said that. You've said that. When did I say your guys were crazy, Jordan? You're one of many Venezuelans who talk and talk. Jordan, when did I say your guys were crazy? When did I say your guys were crazy?
That's what you've been.
When did I say it, Jordan? Jordan, be very specific. You're a serious person, right? You're a serious person. When did I say that? These guys had 8 rifles in 2 boats. That is your fault, Jordan. You were the mastermind of it. That's your fault, not theirs. That's your fault.
What is, idiot?
That's my point. That's my point. That you sent these guys out to die and get captured by the chavismo regime with no weapons while you were in America. That's my point, Jordan.
What's the mission? You can't even answer that.
You sent them with no guns to try and overthrow the Chavista regime.
You have no idea.
You see, you're complete. Clueless. You're in your own world.
You're clueless.
Man, you're in your own world. You're in your own world. You're not even listening to what I'm saying.
No, you are in your own planet, dude. Here's the bottom line. I have the evidence. You don't.
Okay, the evidence so far, the only you have seen, Jordan.
What's the last thing I put on my website for evidence? What's the last thing?
I don't know. You tell me. What is it?
Yeah, exactly. Because who gives a shit, right?
I'm asking you, what is it? What is it? What is it?
I don't know. That's your job to go see it. It's not my job to tell you.
If I'm asking you, what evidence have you presented? You should then say, oh, well, I've told you this, I've shown this, I've proven this. So it's not your job to make yourself look like a credible person and not someone who's trying to avoid the responsibility over an absolutely failed and disastrous mission that is potentially going to land you in jail, and that you're currently trying to fundraise off of the Venezuelan crisis. Once again, it's not your job to make yourself look like a credible person, Jordan.
You're here trying to get clicks. Look at you.
I don't need you to get clicks. You need me to get clicks. You need me to get clicks, Jordan, not the other way around.
You're going to get views, bro.
This is going to be your most, Jordan, this is going to be your most viewed interview today, and you're wasting it. You're wasting it, man. You're wasting it.
Let me know what happened.
Okay, now.
What happened?
Okay, now.
Tell me what happened. Read it off a CNN article, and you tell me what happened.
Now, Jordan, once again, just out of respect.
You're a really courageous guy, bro.
Just out of respect to the audience.
Courage of a lion.
Let's try and be adults. Can you?
Oh, really? Well, hey, man, it takes 2 to tango. If you want to try to talk
I
over
won't
me,
interrupt you. I won't interrupt you. I'll let you finish your points, and then you grant me the same courtesy. Is that okay?
Oh, do you want to take the moral high ground?
It's not moral high ground. It's showing respect for the audience that's watching this, and it isn't gaining anything out of value of 2 people shouting at each other.
You just want to talk over me and talk over me.
You're making accusations. I'm saying,
this is ridiculous.
Are you going to have a normal conversation?
Are you going to have a normal conversation?
Yes, 100%.
Really?
Say what you have to say, finish your point, then I'll answer. Go ahead.
By all means. Your point is I'm this horrible, terrible mercenary because guys died. Got it. Got it, man. I'm this horrible, terrible mercenaries. I got all these guys killed. Cool. Great. So what am I doing here, man? What do you want to know?
Okay.
What do you want to know?
Again, Jordan, you're stating something that I haven't said. You're saying it. I haven't said it. Now.
Okay, man. Look, I don't want to do the verbal gymnastics. I'm here to
tell you. So then stop putting words in my mouth, Jordan. It's very simple. So stop putting words in my mouth.
Let's show respect and let's speak like
adults. Stop putting words in my mouth. That's not very respectful to put words in my mouth.
Respectful?
Yes.
I think what's not respectful is the fact that you have no respect for these guys who died trying to liberate their country. I think that's really disrespectful.
Again, you're saying something that I've never said, Jordan. My criticism is of you, not of them. You were the mastermind. You're the person that's still alive, that's still free for now.
I was the only dude that you guys had given it a shot with his own money.
And you failed miserably. And 8 people lost their lives, and many more lost their freedom because of it.
You obviously don't know anything about.
Okay, let's get to the sabotage then. Who sabotaged it, Jordan?
Do you think that we always win? Are you familiar with Operation Red Wings?
Jordan,
so all those SEALs are scumbags.
Again, you're putting words in my mouth. You're putting words in my mouth.
All those SEALs are terrible guys because they failed Operation Red Wings. Is that right? You don't know anything, man. You're not a soldier. You have no clue. You're a guy with a podcast who has a big following, who thinks he understands. You weren't there. You don't want to listen to me. You don't have any evidence except for what's in the mainstream media. So what are we doing here? You don't. You want me to be the bad guy. I get it. I'm the bad guy. It's my operation. I'm the commander. I didn't foresee the fact that I'd have to fight 4 countries. You understand? 2 intelligence agencies.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
You said,
Oh,
you
my
said,
God.
you said,
Oh, here we
you
go.
said, Jordan, I'm going to give you a chance to say whatever you want to say. This is
Yeah,
going to
sure,
be
no
your
problem.
most viewed interview so far. So why are you wasting it? If you want to advance
Look,
your
man,
narrative and you want to
enough.
expose people
Enough.
responsible
I don't want to do. Look, I
within
don't know
the
who you're
Venezuelan
working
opposition,
for.
why
I
not?
don't
Why
know
not just
who
take advantage
exactly
of it and answer questions, Jordan?
You're not answering my questions, man.
You haven't
okay,
asked me any.
Let me ask you one simple question. What was the entire point of the operation?
According to you, to liberate Venezuela.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty big mission statement, right? Like, what were we trying to achieve?
To overthrow the
tactical mission? That's a
to overthrow the
strategic
chavismo regime.
So that's a
To
strategic
capture Maduro.
mission.
Capture
No, hold
Maduro.
on. That's a strategic mission. What's a tactical mission?
Well, that's a problem.
Right,
The tactical
no
mission
idea.
of someone.
I don't know.
Jordan, the
What's
tactical mission. This is where we get into the whole issue of it.
Yeah, let's go.
The
What was it,
tactical
bro?
mission of someone who on the 28th of March
Let's
must
start
have
here.
heard.
No, let's start here. What's the difference between tactics and strategy? What's the difference?
Jordan, I'm not a military expert.
Okay, I thought you were.
I've never
What's the
claimed
difference
to be
between
one.
Tactics and strategy.
I've
Because
never
you talk
claimed
about
to be
strategy.
one. I've never claimed to be one.
Sure you did.
But
You
I'm
said,
saying
well,
if we're talking
strategy, from strategy standpoint, that's not right. Well, what do you know, man?
Okay, well, I'll
I thought you
explain.
were a
I'll
military
explain to you what I
strategist.
know.
Apparently you are.
Jordan. Again, you're speaking to yourself. You're not letting
No, I'm
me
talking
answer.
to you,
You're not
bro.
letting
You're
me
right
say
there.
anything. Okay, now.
I think this is the whole thing with, like, generationally speaking. Your generation knows everything but has done nothing.
Okay. Jordan, on the 28th of March, Jordan Goudreau exposed the plan on his TV show. 28th of March, nearly 2 months before you tried to carry out.
Okay, specifically, what was it?
He presented a comprehensive overview of the exile camps where you were training in Colombia with the names of the Venezuelans and all Americans that were involved. On the 28th of March.
When were we going to strike? When? Did it say?
Oh, you know that. However,
No.
he already knew.
Did it
He already
say in
knew
the-
that
did
there
it
was a
say?
plan.
No, here's
He
the
already
thing,
knew
you're a
there was a plan.
strategist.
He knew about the
Let me
camps. He knew
finish.
about the people
Did it
involved.
say in the paperwork? Did it say in the paperwork?
In the paperwork showed by Jordan or the paperwork you had?
Yeah. When did he say? What was the date that we were going to attack?
I'm not sure. You tell me.
Exactly. No, I'm asking you. You're the
But he
strategist.
exposed.
Okay,
He
the other part is
exposed.
this.
He exposed
Where?
the people
Where
involved.
are we going to attack? Do you think for 1 second that when I'm rolling in Iraq in a strike force, that the people in that neighborhood, that AQIZ doesn't know how many people we have, the weapons we have, and our task org? Do you understand? What
Jordan.
he gave was just what every Taliban AQIZ knows about us. It's nothing.
Jordan,
It's
the difference.
information.
There's
Do you
one small
understand?
difference. There's one
Because
small
if you don't
difference.
understand,
Jordan, there's one
we
small
can go
difference.
through that again.
In Iraq and Afghanistan, you had the full backing of the most powerful military in the world. In the Venezuelan mission,
No,
you
that's
had
not
you
true.
had you had
That is simply
you had a
untrue.
dozen rifles.
Listen, man.
You had a dozen
when I'm
rifles
in
for
a
50
valley,
guys.
and it's me, and it's
That's a small
12
difference,
dudes.
Jordan.
No, listen. No, it's not. No, it's not. When it's me and it's 12 dudes. Well, you tell me. You've been to Iraq, right, and Afghanistan. You let me know, military strategist.
Jordan,
Because when
once
it's just
again, what
guys
you're
on the
doing is
phone,
an appeal to
what do we
authority
have?
that doesn't
Do we have
answer
the
the
full
questions that people have about this.
Okay, do we have the full backing of the United
Two-
States military and special operations? Do we have
No,
that?
not in special
Okay,
operations.
well, I guess you're wrong about that then, right?
Yeah, but the difference is that you're in a
No,
war
there's
zone
no
that has been
difference.
designated as such by the
no
American government. In
Let's put it like
Venezuela,
this too,
you
man.
stated
Let me
you
put it like this
stated that
too.
you had the backing of the Trump
put it like
admin.
this.
However, you
Absolutely,
couldn't.
100%.
Okay. Yet you couldn't
100%.
even. Okay.
Yeah.
Yet you couldn't even get Juan Guaido to pay you the retainer.
For what? The 1.5?
Yeah.
Well, that was
So
for
if you-
JJ Rendon to pay.
Yes, but if you
that's
had
for
the backing,
JJ Rendon to pay.
okay, if
right?
you had the backing of the Trump admin to
understand?
do what you were doing, and you
listen,
knew
man,
that you
stop.
didn't have the funding necessary to
If
arm
the
your
United
guys
States
and
government-
to
check it
train
out.
them and to even
Let me-
feed them, a lot of them were malnourished,
finish?
according to the reports made by the Guardian.
Can I talk? I love
if
to
you
talk.
didn't have the funding, why didn't you contact
talk or
someone
no?
in the Trump admin to say, listen, I've not even been paid
Say
my
what?
retainer?
Because I don't need it, man. What do I need $1.5 million for?
So then why ask for it, Jordan, to begin with?
Because
you understand how ridiculous that sounds?
Right?
Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds?
Be, man? What is this going to be? This is just you're an angry
guy. You got your lawyer to send your lawyer to send Juan Guaido a letter demanding the 1.5 mil. You sent irate text messages to J. Rendon demanding the 1.5 mil. Yet now you're saying, "Oh, I didn't need it." That's why I didn't get in touch with the Trump team because I didn't need it.
Did I need it? I'm agreeing.
Well, apparently you did need it because the operation was a miserable failure, Jordan. So apparently you did.
Because real Venezuelans kicked in. Do you understand? No, you don't understand, do you? Real Venezuelans who actually care about Venezuela, who aren't comfortable in
like Cliver Alcala, right?
Like Cliver Alcala. What they're talking about.
Like Cliver Alcala, right?
What? He didn't kick in anything. He was broke.
No, but Cliver Alcala is a real Venezuelan, according to you, right? He's a hero.
He is, yeah.
He's someone that spent, he's someone that spent a decade benefiting and profiting from the drug trade with the chavismo regime.
Yeah? Okay, show me that. Show me that in paper, bro.
He's been accused. Why do you think he's in jail? Why do you think he's in jail, Jordan?
Not for narco-terrorism.
He was drug trafficking. He was arming the FARC. He was arming the FARC. He was arming the FARC guerrilla, a left-wing guerrilla in Colombia. Genius.
You weren't there, bro. Were you there? I didn't see you.
Okay, well, I have as much proof as that as you have of any of the things you've stated, Jordan.
Can I explain it to you? Yeah, you want to hear it? Cliver Alcala was put in jail for selling or for aiding the FARC. That was it. No narco anything. Do you know why? Because there was no evidence.
Jordan, what do you think FARC
does? The U.S. government.
How do you think FARC funds itself, Jordan?
They couldn't do it.
How do you think FARC? How do you think FARC funds itself?
It's irrelevant. Look at the
How's it irrelevant? You've just said it has nothing to do with the drug trade. And as FARC is a drug trade funded terrorist guerrilla movement in Colombia.
Look at the indictment.
Jordan, you're ignoring what I've just said.
Look at the indictment.
You called me a leftist, yet you have no problem with Cliver Alcala. Yet you have no problem with Cliver Alcala arming a left-wing guerrilla movement in Colombia. That's fine for you.
What is?
That Cliver Alcala was arming.
No. You said he was a narco-terrorist. Okay, so show me that in the court document.
No. You said the only thing he did was arm a left-wing guerrilla group in Colombia.
No. Show it to me, man. Show it to me in the court document.
Jordan, you called me a leftist, yet you have no problem saying that Cliver Alcala is a hero, even though he armed.
It's irrelevant to you. You don't care. Okay. You don't care, man. You just reiterate everybody else's arguments without using your mind and thinking through things.
Speaking about evidence, Jordan, you know, on the W radio interview, you know when Ivan Duque got involved?
Do I what?
Do you remember when Ivan Duque got involved in your W radio interview?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, now, you stated on that interview that you had proof that Ivan Duque did in fact know and have a relationship with Lester Toledo. That proof was a picture, correct?
No, that proof is there's a whole lot of people who were in that room who talked about it and who heard Lester. Can I finish? Or how about you tell me, man? You let me know.
Jordan, the problem with that is those other people aren't in those seats behind you there. So that's irrelevant. I'm talking about proof in terms of things that you can show.
Sorry, man. Look,
once they show up and they are willing to give their testimony under oath in an investigation into this case, then it'll be relevant. Until then, it's completely irrelevant because you could be making them up.
Photo?
No.
The photo.
No, you're saying, Jordan, you're saying many people knew about it and many people agree with you, but those people you don't name and no one knows who they are and I haven't heard from them.
Let me know when I can talk, bro. Can I talk now?
No, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Am I allowed to talk?
You saying many people knew about it and many people agree with me. It's improved, Jordan.
Let me know when I can talk and I'll start talking.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I talk now?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you sure? Yeah? Okay, check it out. So Duque calls in and he says, I don't even know who Lester Toledo is. I've never been on the phone call with Lester Toledo. And I said, well, that's funny because I've got a photo with Lester Toledo and Ivan Duque and Juan Guaido. That's all I said. That's what I stated. Do you understand? Does that?
Why did you share an edited picture?
No, no. Should we do that again?
Why did you share an edited picture?
And edited? It's not edited.
It is edited, Jordan.
You can find it on the internet, dude.
Jordan,
Watch
the
this.
picture that you shared.
Can I drop you something?
Jordan, listen to what I'm saying.
Check it, dog. There's
Jordan,
a video with
yes,
Lester Toledo,
I have.
Ivan
Listen
Duque.
to what I'm saying.
There's a
Listen to what I'm
video,
saying.
man.
Jordan, listen to what I'm
video.
saying. Listen to what I'm saying. There's two things that were shown by you on your Twitter timeline. One was a picture where you can see Juan Guaidó, Iván Duque, and Lester Toledo. There's a fourth guy that's been cut out on the left-hand side of the picture if you're looking at it. Lester Toledo's t-shirt has been changed as to hide the logo that he was wearing on his white t-shirt. It has been replaced with a black t-shirt. Why did you share a photoshopped image?
I didn't Photoshop it.
You are the first.
Okay,
you are the
dog.
first Google
John,
Lens result
John
of that
Acquaviva.
picture having been shared with a fake t-shirt on Lester Toledo. Yours is the first Google result.
Do you just want me to basically say that Juan Guaidó and Lester, these are good guys?
Answer the question, Jordan. Answer the question, Jordan.
Or is it Nicholas Maduro?
Why did you edit, or why did you share an edited picture?
Have you never had
Answer
somebody...
the question,
so your
Jordan.
computer is full of photos, yes? Is it
Yes.
full of photos? You have a lot of
Yes.
photos? Do
Yes.
people send you photos?
You're the first one that posted
no,
it,
no, no.
Jordan.
Do
Listen
people
to what
send
I'm
you photos,
saying.
yes or no?
You're the
Do people
first
send you
person
photos,
to
yes or no?
post it.
Do
You're the
people send you
first
photos, yes or
person
no?
to post it.
Do
You're
people
ignoring what I'm
send you
saying. You're
photos,
ignoring what
yes
I'm saying.
or no?
You're
It's not a
doing
hard
this thing that
question.
you do
Do
of
people
speaking
send you
over when you
photos,
don't
yes
have
or
an
no?
answer to a question.
people send
You're
you
ignoring
photos,
what I'm
yes or
saying.
no?
Yours
Do
is
people
the
send you
first
photos,
Google
yes or
result
no?
with that
Do people-
edited picture having been shared. Yours.
It's not mine. I didn't take it.
So who gave it to you
I didn't
then? Who
take it.
gave
I
you
don't
that
know who
edited
took that
picture?
photo. I
Who
wasn't
gave you the
there.
edited picture?
A what?
Who gave you the edited picture then?
I don't know. I'd have to go back, but I have video of the same where they took
Yes.
that photo. I
Now
have
let's
video
go
of
to the video. Now let's go to the video. I found that video, not just a still shot that you shared. I found the video. I shared it on my timeline on Twitter, and I'm going to put it in the description of this video as well. What you can see, Jordan, is, or at least what I think can be
you're an
seen,
agent,
what I
bro.
think can be seen,
I think you're an
is
agent.
Iván Duque looking
So it's not
past,
Iván Duque.
looking past Lester Toledo to another
it's not
person
real.
that stood
you're
behind
saying.
Lester Toledo. They weren't even exchanging eye contact, Lester Toledo and Iván Duque. That was in a Venezuela aid event that was full of the political class taking advantage to do their PR work. A picture or a video where the two people are in the same place when one of them is a public figure, like the president at that time of Colombia, Iván Duque, isn't proof of a
Who's
relationship.
Lester Toledo, bro? Who's Lester Toledo?
You're ignoring what I'm saying.
No, watch this. I'm gonna answer you. Is Lester Toledo the strategist of Nayib Bukele?
Yeah, could be said that way.
Oh man, that hurt. Is he? Yes or no?
I mean, he's done political
clear.
advising. I don't know who
Is he
Bukele
the
hired or didn't.
strategist? Is he election strategist of?
Yeah, he's a political strategist, yeah.
Yes. Wow, that was brutal to get that yes out of you, man. How do you know? Was everything photoshopped? Was it all photoshopped with the photo with him
What are
and
you
Nayib
talking
Bukele? Was
about,
that
Jordan? What are you
photoshopped?
talking about?
I don't know. I'm just saying, man. I think you're.
No, what are you
I
saying?
think you're a shill for Guaido.
What are you
and
saying?
Lester
A
Toledo.
shill for Guaido.
I'm saying you're a
Jordan,
shill
you
for
don't
these
know
guys,
how
man.
ridiculous that
That's what I'm
sounds.
saying. I don't
know how
who you
ridiculous
are,
that sounds.
But you sure fighting for these
I'm
guys.
the biggest critic
I don't
that
know
Juan
anything
Guaido
about
has
some
had
dude sends
since
me
the
a photo,
day he became
and I said,
the
"Wait a minute,
paper
I've seen the
president
photo."
of Venezuela. Do you understand that, Jordan?
I don't Photoshop photos, bro. But
Jordan,
you certainly
Jordan,
given them
Jordan,
deniability.
Jordan, listen to what I'm saying. Since the first day
I'm good.
Juan Guaido
think
Juan
you need to
Guaido
fight for your
appeared on the
country.
political scene, listen to what I'm
John
saying. Listen to what I'm
Acquaviva.
saying. Listen to what I'm saying. From the first
I don't
day
care what
Juan
you're saying,
Guaido appeared as the president selected by the National Assembly in Venezuela, I have been, since that day, his
I don't care.
biggest
This is
critic.
irrelevant to
His
me.
biggest
Yeah,
critic.
right. And you know
it's
what?
not
Juan Guaido
irrelevant
does
because
everything
you're
he can
calling
do
me
to
a
save
shill for
Venezuela, and so does
Guaido.
Lester Toledo.
At least sort out
think
your
you're full of shit.
accusations. Am I a
think you're full of shit,
leftist?
man.
Am I a shill
I
for
think you're
Guaido? What
up
am
there
I
with everybody
exactly,
else
Jordan?
who I'm Venezuelan. You're full of shit.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
just be
you're
honest,
not.
man.
The person
You're
who
full of
said
shit.
that the
Like, who pays
CIA
you, bro?
backed, the
Who pays
CIA
you, man?
sabotaged your plan.
Who
Where's
pays you,
where's
bro?
the proof?
Who pays you, man?
Where's the proof, Jordan?
Who pays you?
My audience.
Go look at
Jordan,
my website, bro.
My audience.
Go look at my website.
That's why, unlike you, who doesn't get anyone to donate to his fundraiser, I actually have an audience that watches my content. Because I'm not a propagandist for anyone. Because people like you who start throwing accusations and start making statements while presenting no proof don't get any credibility just because you're advancing my agenda, Jordan. Just because you're advancing my agenda, I'm not going to believe what you're saying, Jordan.
Americans don't care about Venezuela. You're the reason. Americans don't care. Oh, liberate Venezuela. Yeah, we tried that, and the Venezuelans fucked us. Perfect. That's you,
I thought it was the CIA, Jordan.
Nobody cares. Yeah. Well, with the fucking CIA.
Also, it was the Venezuelans with the CIA.
I think that you are better served with your Venezuelan audience who believes your shtick about, oh, I want to free Venezuela, man. Then to go do that. Good luck with it. Go
Jordan, where's your proof that the CIA sabotaged your plan?
Venezuela. That's right.
Where's your proof that the CIA sabotaged your plan, Jordan?
Look at my page, John.
I've seen it. There's no proof there that involves the CIA. The most you've tried to do is cite articles.
I thought you said you didn't see it. Wait a minute.
No. I don't know what you're talking about when you said the last thing I posted to my website. I've checked everything you've posted, Jordan.
There's a ton of proof,
I have checked every tweet, every post, every interview you've done in the past 4 years, Jordan. I prepared before doing this interview, something you didn't do. Something you didn't do, Jordan. You cited an article, The Untold Story of Trump's Failed Attempt to Overthrow Venezuela's President, which states in the article that you shared, in the article that you quoted the article by Wired.
Wait, what did I quote? No, don't tell me what I did.
On your Twitter account, you said, I'm about to, listen, I'll read you the tweet. I'll read you the tweet. I'll read you the tweet.
I think you're,
you said, there's a good article. You said there's a good article by Wired exposing CIA infrastructure attacks in Venezuela. That article is told
exactly, John. What is
I'm going to ask you, but first let me read the name of the article so people can go and find it themselves, Jordan. The name of the article is called The Untold Story of Trump's Failed Attempt to Overthrow Venezuela's President. This is pathetic. This is pathetic, Jordan.
You're clueless.
This is pathetic.
You don't even understand. You're told your ideas. You're told what to believe.
Okay, what do you mean then by infrastructure attacks? What do you mean?
Infrastructure attack? What's an
Depends. It could be, for example, a cyber attack affecting the electric grid. It could be many different things.
What happens when electric grid goes down?
What's your proof, Jordan? What's your proof?
What happens, bro?
What's your proof?
What happens?
What's your proof?
What happens?
You said while you were arrested.
What happens during an infrastructure
You said
attack?
while you were arrested.
Proof is in a Wired
so in 2024, the CIA.
They admit it. John, they admit it. Where's my proof? Are you stupid? The CIA admitted to it. Are you that
admitted
stupid?
to what?
Or are you that good a shill?
Admitted to what?
You're that good a shill. The CIA has admitted to infrastructure attacks in Venezuela. That's my proof.
Yes,
this
is what they. Yes, this is what I was.
You need
Jordan,
more proof.
This is what I was about to read.
Are you sure?
Jordan, this is what I was about to read. The article that you quote says that the CIA carried out cyber attacks to avoid military personnel to be able to get their payments. That was the extent that is mentioned in terms of cyber attacks or infrastructure attacks carried out by the CIA in the article that you quote as a good article to see the infrastructure attacks carried out by the CIA.
Tell me about power outages.
Power outages, Venezuela has over 200 per day.
Sure. So when it's admitted to me, and again, it's in black and white, but you didn't read it in black and white in an FBI 302. But hey, man, you go off whatever you need to. The CIA were conducting infrastructure attacks, power outages. This was admitted by George Betancourt in a FBI 302. Do you understand?
Jordan, do you understand that Venezuela has had the most power outages of any country in Latin America for over a decade?
Sounds good.
Do you understand that?
No, I think I understand it, but when it's a widespread grid failure...
There have been widespread grid failures, including 2019, when there was the biggest blackout in Venezuelan history, Jordan.
When George Betancourt takes credit for it, but he's actually secretly paying you, John?
What are you talking about, Jordan? What are you talking about?
I get it.
You
Man.
don't even know that
totally-
Venezuela
yeah, I
has the
get it.
most
I
power
get it, bro.
outages of any
I
country
totally
in
get
the
it.
region.
Totally
And it's
get it.
because the chavismo has left
of course
every
it is.
infrastructure
Yes,
in the
of course.
country fall apart.
And all the USAID money, it was well accounted for, right?
USAID
Right?
has a
Is that
budget
right?
of 60
John?
billion per
Yeah?
year. 60
clueless,
billion
bro.
per year, out of
You
which
are
2
about as
billion
smart as
went
a
to
bag of wet hair.
Venezuela during the Juan Guaido government. You know as well
clueless.
as I do that that's a drop in the ocean.
You're 1.6 billion.
Yes, it's a drop in the ocean. An
Drop
absolute
the bucket,
drop
man.
in the ocean.
So where is it?
I know I've been making a following
is
to
it?
this. I've been making
yeah, where is
videos
it,
about
bro?
this. I want to get to the bottom of it because
What
I
do you
think
do?
it could
Right,
expose
you
the
wanna get to the
corruption
bottom of
of
it.
the fake opposition.
Right.
However, I'm not going to state things that I cannot yet prove. So I'm waiting until we
Look,
have
man,
more
here's
proof
the thing,
about
bro.
the USA being
yeah,
used
I-
by
you
all
don't
these
wanna- you don't wanna see it.
NGOs, by all these NGOs
check it out.
that are
I
owned
gave
by a
you
lot of these same
302.
political figures in
I gave you
Venezuela.
a 302. I gave you a 302. You didn't want to see it. I did so much research. I did all my research. The last thing that I posted, you didn't even look at, but you did all this research. What's wrong with you, man? Who do you work
Jordan,
for?
this is really pathetic.
Yeah,
Seriously.
it is, bro. Well done. I mean, I could have come on and I could have explained things and I could have cited my evidence, but you didn't want that.
You haven't cited any
This is
evidence
what
because you don't
want.
have
Yeah,
any,
FBI
Jordan.
302. It's on my website. Go check it out.
What does that have
check it
to
out.
do with the CIA,
CIA? What does
sabotaging
that have to
your
do with
attempt
CIA?
to
Are you,
overthrow the
like,
government?
How smart are you, man? Let's
Two
do
things
that.
can be
Let's try
true
to
at the
get
same
over, like, a
time. The
bar of
CIA can
intelligence.
be involved in all
Let's try to
kinds
get,
of
like, the
shit,
bar of
but at the same
intelligence
time, that
raised
doesn't mean that they were
somewhere.
involved in sabotaging Jordan
Let's do it, bro.
Goudreau.
Doesn't I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over like you and I talking over each other. So here's the thing. I have the evidence, but you don't want to see it. So what
Okay,
I'm
where
gonna
is
do
it? Where is
is
it?
I'm
Why
gonna
haven't you
release it on
posted
my
it? Why haven't you
webpage.
published it?
Over time. I have.
You haven't
republished
published
it a bit at a time.
anything that
Because I'm
proves
not
any
gonna-
part
why
of
would I
what you've
play your game,
said.
bro? Calm down. You're welcome for trying to liberate your country because guys like
Oh,
you
yeah,
won't
you
do
did a
anything about
great
it.
job,
Guys
Jordan.
like you'll talk.
A great
You'll
job.
talk. Keep talking, bro.
Yeah, you
Keep
costed
talking.
8 Venezuelans their
Keep
lives,
talking.
but great
The
job,
best thing that
Jordan. Do you
are
want a
good at
pat
is
on the back,
talking.
Jordan?
You have
Do you want a
followers
pat on the
because you're a
back,
good
Jordan?
talker. All you're good at is talking, man. You're good at talking. Great. Good job. Keep talking.
Jordan.
Keep talking about I want to free Venezuela. I care. All this bullshit, so that you can get ratings and make money from podcasting. You're doing a great job, Venezuelan. My guys,
Jordan, do you realize
they had courage and they died, but you don't care. That's a joke to you. That's stupid to you. It's all about the money, baby. Right?
I damn putting
It's all about
words
the
in my
money for
mouth,
you,
Jordan.
man,
This is
right?
pathetic. This is
Yeah,
pathetic,
it is,
Jordan.
but you are a absolute shill.
A shill for who?
Absolutely
A shill
work
for who?
these guys, man.
For who?
Are
I work for
you-
who?
who? I don't know, man. Who are you defending right now?
You tell me.
defending,
You've changed
John?
your opinion about who I'm defending
defending?
several times.
Who are you defending? Who are you
Answer the
defending?
question.
What is
Who's
your
paying you then,
argument?
Jordan?
So what's the
Who do I
argument
work
you're
for,
trying to make?
Jordan? Who do I work
What's the
for?
argument?
Who do I
For
work
the
for?
what?
Who do I work for?
Who you work for?
Yeah.
You tell me.
You're the
tell
one
me.
that's saying that I work
You
for
have
someone and
the
someone's
agenda
paying me.
here.
Who?
I came on here to try to explain what happened. You have the
Jordan,
agenda.
you've stated several
no,
times
no.
that I'm a
You
shill,
have
that
the
I work
agenda.
for people.
What's
Who?
your agenda?
Who do I work for?
What's your agenda?
My
Go fight
agenda is
for your
exposing
country.
fakes and
Stop talking
frauds,
and
and
fight
I
for your
think that
country.
you're a
Oh, wait a
fake
minute,
and a
you're not going
fraud.
to.
I think you're
I'm
a
gonna fight
fake
for your
and a
country,
fraud,
right?
Jordan.
Isn't that so?
I think you
are
costed the
a parasite,
lives of
bro.
8
You
Venezuelans
are a
because you're
parasite.
incompetent
You don't know what's
at
going
planning
on.
an attempt to
You're a fool.
overthrow the chavismo
You have no idea
regime.
what you're doing.
I think
You're
that you lied
absolutely
about
clueless.
having backing from the
Clueless.
Trump
Do you want
administration,
some
Jordan.
evidence?
And I think
Do you
that
want any
because of
evidence at all?
that,
No, you
you
don't want
sent
evidence. You just wanna
sent
argue.
50 guys
just wanna
plus
argue, right?
with
You
10
just wanna-
rifles, Jordan. That's
Here we go.
why. I think
go, bro.
you're a fake, Jordan.
No, I think you're a fake.
That's
I think
my
you are a
that's my
fraud.
objective right now.
I think you're an absolute fraud.
Okay.
Ever in
A
the
fraud to
military?
what?
No.
For me to be a
You're
fraud,
a
I'd have to
fraud.
be
You work for one
defrauding
guy to win
someone.
the
Who am I
boys, bro.
defrauding if you don't
work
even know
for
who
one
my
guy to-
audience
I
is,
tell you
Jordan?
what,
You don't even
let's
know
do
who
this.
what my
Why don't
opinions
you
are.
fly over here and we can do this in person?
No, you could
Because
fly
you're
over
not gonna
here.
be
Oh,
so
wait,
badass
you
in
can't
person.
because you can't
You're
leave
not
the
gonna be such a
country,
tough
can
guy
you,
in
Jordan?
person, are you?
You can't
Here,
leave
when
the
you can just
country,
do
can you,
this,
Jordan?
This is all about you. This is
Yeah.
you, bro. All talk. All show, no go, baby.
But
You don't
so
have the
far,
guts.
that's been
You're a
exactly what you've
coward.
done.
You're the typical.
So
I'm
far,
gonna
that's
talk,
exactly
I'm
what
gonna
you've
talk,
done. All
I'm gonna
talk, no
talk.
show.
You are
Getting
a
into
coward,
fights
bro.
with Líder Toledo.
Absolute
Where's the
coward.
proof? Why can't you publish the discussions, the
I am.
videos, and the
I did
audios?
it. You didn't
No,
even see
you
it.
haven't
You didn't even
posted
see it,
any
you
that
stupid
involve
idiot.
Lichter
Oh, no, not
Toledo.
the shade.
Where are they? Where are
Oh,
they?
not the shade.
Where are they?
You are a monkey, man.
Where are the
You're a
videos
paid
and the
monkey.
audios with Lichter
Check it
Toledo?
out.
Jordan,
Here's
where are
what we'll
they?
do. You can like hang up and go about your business because you
Jordan,
don't want
tell me.
answers.
Where are
You
they?
don't want answers, bro.
Where are they?
You don't want answers.
Answer what?
You're not even asking real questions. You don't want
Okay.
answers.
Okay,
So
my
you
real question is,
have a good
you
time
said that you have
with your
evidence
life
to expose
and
Lichter Toledo, right?
Stay on your knees, bro. Oh wait, you live in the UK, one of the safest countries in the world. Stay safe, buddy. See ya. Have a good one.
Pathetic.
You're a coward. You're a
Pathetic.
coward.
Pathetic.
You're a coward.
Jordan,
Venezuela. I saw your photo with the muscles. Come over here and let's have it in person, bro.
No, you can come
No?
over here, but you can't
No,
because you can't leave the
Come over
country,
here,
can you,
bro.
Jordan?
Come on, tough guy. Where's
Can't
the
leave the
muscles?
country, can you,
No
Jordan?
muscles, right? Yeah, come on.
This is pathetic.
You're the idiot who wanted to do this. This is your idiot show.
I've asked you a question. Why
This
not
is your
expose
idiot show.
Lichter Toledo?
I tried to answer, but you answered for me.
In
You don't want
2017,
evidence,
I tried to expose Lichter Toledo. I think he's a fraud. Why don't you do it if you have the proof?
Oh, give me a break. Yeah, you did. Didn't try very hard, did you?
Well, actually, at the end of the interview I did with him, he made a promise in which he said, I risk all my reputation and my credibility that the regime isn't going to make it to the 1st of January of 2018. And to this day, he's mocked because of that statement.
Okay, look.
But I don't have proof of him being corrupt. You apparently do.
I
So
have
why don't
tons
you
of
publish
proof.
them?
I have
So
so
publish
much
them.
proof. But here's the deal. You won't even look at my page. I just published like 5 sentences. And you're like, it says CIA. That's not proof. Are you insane? Are you? No, you're not. You're a shill. I have to remember that you're a shill. I have to remember that.
Jordan, what if I said
Look,
that
man,
you're a CIA
we're not
ops?
getting anything done.
I think
so.
you're a CIA ops.
Yeah, that's okay. Cool, bro. Appreciate that.
Yeah, but I have
With
as
one
much proof
difference.
for that.
Yeah,
I have
one
as much
difference.
proof for
Here's
that
the
as you
difference,
have
bro.
for your statements.
I actually tried
see
to
how that
liberate
works?
your country because you were too scared to do it.
Because you
you're
wanted
not
$200 million.
very good at anything.
Because you
Yeah,
wanted
exactly.
$200
Yeah.
million. That's
Show
why.
me where it is, man.
You didn't get it because you didn't do it, Jordan.
Show me where it is.
That's
Show me
usually
where
how
is.
it works.
I didn't get anything.
If you don't do a job, you
Well,
don't
look,
get the money.
I don't think like.
Welcome to the real world.
That Venezuela. I don't really think you're Venezuelan.
No, I'm not.
I think you're probably like I don't know where you're
Yeah.
from, but it ain't Venezuela.
Yeah. Figure
Your
it
blood
out.
is
Let me know.
like, your blood is like blue, man. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a fake. You're a
Yeah.
fraud and you're a coward who won't fight for his country and protects all these scumbags in Venezuela. That's who you are.
And
Yeah,
you're
with a
someone who
smile
sent
on your
8
face,
people
you
to
say it.
die to get $200
Smile on your
million, Jordan.
face, you say it,
You sent
man.
8
There it is,
people to
right
die to
there.
get $200 million,
You're a
Jordan.
coward.
That's who you are.
No, okay, sounds good, bro. I paid my own money to do what we did.
You
in
wanted
Venezuela.
$200 million, Jordan. You didn't want to
Hey, look,
spend your own money,
listen.
Jordan.
Listen, we are not getting anywhere. You don't care.
Because you don't answer
you're
any of my
working for
questions. You
Toledo
don't answer
or
any of my
Guido
questions.
or whatever.
Why
wanna
don't you
further
expose
destroy
Lichter Toledo
whatever
if you have the
semblance of,
information, Jordan?
you know,
It's a very simple
Venezuelan
question.
Hope is about.
Why
I've
don't
asked
you
several simple
expose
questions.
Lichter Toledo,
Hey,
Jordan?
watch this. Watch this, bro. Let me ask you a question. Answer it. What was the point of the mission? What was the tactical objective of the mission?
We've gone back to the same
No
thing we were
idea,
speaking about an hour
No
ago.
idea. You're like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Also,
I don't
what
have
was
the
it
script
then?
for that. Lester didn't write the script for me.
No, but
think
you
you're a
said
fraud,
you said that
dude.
you have
You're
information that can
You're
expose
a
Lichter Toledo.
podcaster who pretends to care about Venezuela for
Jordan,
clicks.
once again,
for
you're just
cash.
making a fool out of yourself
No, no,
because
no,
you
I
don't know
think that's
anything
you.
about me, yet you've
I
spent
know
the
everything
past
about
half an
you. I'm
hour.
learning it right
You
now.
spent the past
You
half
had
an
the
hour throwing
opportunity to
accusations
question a
against
guy
me.
who knows and has evidence. You
What's
chose
the
not to.
evidence then? I'd love to see it.
Okay, can I have time to get it?
Of
Or
course.
is that? Well, right now I was supposed to be on an interview. Might take me a little bit.
Part
And
of
like
the
I said to you,
part of the
I'm gonna-
interview is showing proof of what you say.
What? Of what?
Jordan, just one question, just one. You
No,
said
let me ask you.
you
No,
said
no,
in an
I'm gonna ask
interaction
you.
with
I'm done with your
Lichter
question.
Toledo.
Let me ask you a question.
You
bro.
said in an interaction
Let
with
me ask you
Lichter
a question.
Toledo that you have videos and audios that can expose him. Why not publish them?
I'm waiting.
For what? Lichter Toledo
You're-
isn't
you're the
CIA. He's
strategist.
not FBI.
You're the strategist, bro.
So why waiting?
You
Waiting
tell
for
me, you're
what?
the
Waiting for
strategist.
what?
You tell me. What am I?
So
what
you
could I
just
possibly be
expect
waiting
people
for?
to take your word
Use
for
your
it.
brain.
Jordan,
Yeah,
you
use
just
your
expect
mind.
people to
I know
take
this
your word
is
for
a
it.
chump. but you have to use your mind sometimes. And you have to like deduce and think, why would I be holding on to it?
Because you have a fundraiser to pay for your legal costs, and because you want to make it to seem like the only way that they arrested you, the only reason they arrested you is because of a whole complot against Donald Trump in which you were involved.
Hands up if you've ever tried to liberate Venezuela.
That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make it seem like the only reason you were arrested is because of the whole plot against Donald Trump.
Your narrative is
you're using the shield of the plot against Trump to try and defend yourself, Jordan.
A total shill.
You're using the shield of the corruption that in fact exists within the intelligence agencies in America to try and exculpate yourself.
So here's the thing, when you air this, and I hope you do.
Of course, it's coming out tonight, Jordan. It's coming out tonight.
You are going to look like a total clown, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to have a big old nose on your thing.
Oh, Jordan, you don't have a clue, man.
Buddy,
you don't have a clue.
I can't wait, man.
And this is such a wasted opportunity, and I'll tell you why.
I think you're a waste of skin. I think you're
I'll tell you why, Jordan.
I think you're up there with Juan Guaido.
You had the chance to reach your niche
by all
audience.
Means, hang up.
Your niche audience in Venezuela. You had a chance to reach them with this interview.
No, there's no this for you is divisive, and this helps them. This helps the regime, and this helps Guaido and Toledo. This helps them.
So, once again, I am the biggest critic of people like Juan Guaido and Lester Toledo. If you knew anything about me, you'd know this.
You just say you are, man. Why? Because
I'm the person that has the biggest platform that's been criticizing him from day one.
Absolute.
Because of that.
Jordan, because of that. With psyops?
Jordan, because of that.
You're the counter narrative, man.
Yeah, you're a psyop too, Jordan. I think you're a psyop. Do you see how this works? We can both throw out accusations. We can both make accusations with no proof.
You're the controlled opposition.
Yeah, we can both make accusations without showing any proof, and they're equally valid, Jordan.
You've showed me no proof of anything.
You
didn't
neither.
even read the contract.
I've given you an hour. You haven't proven anything. You haven't shown me anything.
You said you didn't read my latest evidence drop. So what are we talking about?
Your latest evidence drop that is just saying that the CIA sabotaged you. Is that evidence?
How many missions
have
you failed in the military?
Well, at least I'm not responsible for 8 people dying while I was too busy taking a video saying that the operation was working out perfectly well. At least that wasn't me. That wasn't me in that video, Jordan. Where were you when 8 men were dying? Jordan, when you sent 8 men to their death, where were you? Where were you, Jordan, when you sent 8 guys to their death with no weapons, no support, no backing? No backing. Where were you, Jordan? Where were you?
I'll talk to any valid journalist.
Where were you?
Where was I? I'm right here. I'm in Florida.
No, when you sent 8 guys to die with no weapons, no support, and no funding, where were you? Where were you?
Let's part here and call it good. But the invitation's open if you want to come here, and we can do some. I don't know. You look like a tough guy, like a telephone tough guy, like a podcast Power Ranger. You're a real tough guy when you're hiding behind your mic. Anytime you want to come across the pond, by all means. But this is going nowhere. So have a good one, buddy. I wish you luck in your endeavor of making lots of money in podcasting, because you sure don't care about Venezuela, buddy.
Do you want to do a staring contest, or are you going to hand drop?
You're not here, man. I'm sure you outweigh me by like 40 pounds, but you're not.
Jordan, I opened this interview by stating that you've received 3 bronze stars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
You're not letting me answer
questions. At no point have I said that you're not tough, that you weren't heroic
but you're doing
in
this
the military.
Thing where you're like,
I've never said that. You've spent the past half an hour attacking me personally. I haven't. I've been attacking your statements.
No, you have
I've been attacking your arguments.
So when you say all these horrible things, those aren't attacks. They're absolute attacks.
You're saying that I don't care about Venezuela. You're saying that I'm a shill, that I'm paid, that I don't care about Venezuelans that die trying to liberate the country.
Let me know. This guy's a shill. Continue to follow him. I'm sure he's going to make lots of money in his podcast.
Okay. Best of luck with the trial, Jordan.
Likewise,
I hope you manage to get some donations, Jordan.
Keep fooling your audience.
Best of luck.
You're a scumbag.
Best of luck.